Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.
Christopher Media. Let's make some noise. From Asthmacore Studios near Detroit, Michigan.
Oh, man.
It's the Weedsman Podcast.
I have no idea what's going on.
And now,
you have smoked yourself retarded.
Here are the Weedsmen.
You want to get high?
It's Weedsman Podcast 248. Chris.
I'm Aaron.
That's a Michigan area code.
Oh, yeah.
248. What's up, Oakland County?
So I went and saw the Captain Marvel movie.
How was that?
It was great fun. Took my kids to it.
You're the second positive review I've heard on that.
Out of how many reviews?
2.
Oh,
2 for 2 on positive.
No, I mean, it lives up to the Marvel movie. It lives up to the rest of the movies, you know. It was, let's see, what can I talk about that's not spoilery? This is one of the more, like, most of the stuff that happens in Marvel movies, I'm not even worried about spoilers. Might be a couple plot points, but even, like, I could read a synopsis of it, and I don't think it's going to change my enjoyment of it. But this one, actually, there was a bit of mystery, too. And the Captain Marvel story is, it's kind of a cross between the Captain America story and the Superman story. It's taken a little bit of Captain America's story is him being the runt, right? He was the weakling that wanted to serve and was told that, you know, whatever, that he just wasn't fit for service. And a lot of Superman's story is about the alien. So it's kind of a mixture of the both of them. And Brie Larson plays it really well. I enjoy her character. I don't know. Yeah, she's probably, at this point, the most powerful character in the Marvel Universe, though.
Damn.
And even that's kind of a spoiler to say.
Taking on Thanos?
Yeah, I mean, I think that is going to be the plan. And there's a lot of this movie is her and Sam Jackson. I wasn't clear how much he was going to be in it because they had to fucking Tony Stark him with the de-ageifier. You know, they had to Benjamin Button him.
Make him look like the age he was in Pulp Fiction.
Right,
try to do everything to make you forget that he's a 70-something-year-old black man.
Right. It gets harder because it's like trying to de-age. If you try to de-age Alec Baldwin,
we're in ADHD. It's getting harder to do that shit.
Like Sam Jackson, Lawrence Fishburne, Alec Baldwin, all these guys got wider, especially in the head.
Is that what we have to look forward to?
Big heads. I don't think so. I think
our head's gonna get bigger. My head's already big enough, man.
Mostly, it's just noses and ears will get big. No matter
that's because
they
never stop growing. That's one of those things you learn in.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of those stupid little things. Like, hey, more fourth grade science. Yeah, like your ears and your nose and shit never stop growing.
Yeah. They just start to look like they're melting off your face. So, as far as the technology involved there, pretty seamless. I'm sure if I was actively looking for it more, it might have stood out. But you see him once and you're like, oh, it's kind of weird, and then you're used to it. And then he's like that for the whole fucking movie.
And he says, "Say what again?"
With 2 eyes. You do get to the mystery of what happened to Nick Fury's eye in this movie.
I guess it got poked out, shot out, exploded out.
I didn't even see what the big controversy was over this being like so pro-feminist and anti-men movie. That is until the part where she got her period and destroyed the universe. She finger snapped all the men out of existence. No. If anything, that looks like the Dark Phoenix movie, if you've seen the preview for that. That's totally like, ooh, gets cosmic power, has a bad day, kills the universe.
How can they say that? We love women. With Tracy gone, our last episode was all Jenna.
This is Amelia Earhart. I'm almost across the Pacific. Oh no, my period!
Oh, now pick questions. Oh no, my period.
That is
Hillary
ironic reappropriation. I don't know. It started as a show for women starring women. At the very least, we should be elevating the way women are perceived in society. And, oh, my period. You're all fired.
That's some outtakes from Captain Marvel.
I was scanning through radio stations on what happened to be International Women's Day, and it was like a classic rock station or something like that. And they're like, oh, we have this segment that we want to play in honor of it being National Women's Day. And it was called What Women Are Thinking. And
boy.
It was like her thinking about, should I get a dog? Like thinking to herself, I should get a dog. And all the ways that like a dog would be better than a boyfriend. And I'm like, that's pretty reductive, but okay. At least they're acknowledging it. I don't know. It's kind of ridiculous that we have to have. I'm not one of these like, where's the International Men's Day? I'm more with Morgan Freeman on all of these types of, like, he doesn't want Black History Month. I don't want White History Month or year, or I just. But okay. So yeah, what else was fun about the movie that's not going to be spoilery though? This is our last Stan Lee cameo.
Oh. It's true. Well,
and this
last
was
one that he filmed,
right? And
because what Star Wars proved to us, you don't even need to exist anymore to be in a movie. Since the last one he filmed,
they would not do that. I don't think. Maybe somebody would voice it if they want him to do an animated cameo. I can see that where somebody comes in and voices
to Stan Lee in a future Marvel film.
The intro to this. You know how they have the dun 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 dun, the exciting music, and it goes through all the like comic book pages, and you see the heroes, and then you see image of the Hulk and Captain America. Yeah, well, you have that on deck.
Talk about it a lot.
So it's doing the whole animated sequence at the beginning that shows off all the characters in the Marvel Universe,
yes.
And it was all Stan Lee.
Oh.
All pictures of Stan Lee. Some of them, they dressed him up as certain characters, made him kind of look like the Hulk, but like had him represent like...
Did they have the picture of him at the end with harassing the nurse?
That's been so like...
Ass grabbing Stan Lee. They put devil horns on him.
That shit didn't stick. And there was more reasons why they're investigating some of his in-home care. Other indications of abuse from the stories that I've heard, but I don't know if any of that's like been proven in court of law or anything. But the Stan Lee cameo, she comes across him on a train, and he's studying a script for Mallrats.
Oh, no shit.
So in the Marvel Universe,
how hard was Kevin Smith's dick? I almost said Spacey.
He was in tears. He bawled like. I guess he didn't know that ahead of time. Went to the premiere and saw this man. I mean, think about it, the circumstances there. Like, first of all, he's getting caught off guard. Second of all, he knew this guy, and he was like
one of his heroes.
And he was already prepared to. He knew that this was going to be the last time that he would get to see a Stan Lee cameo, a new one, and that turns out to have a link to his history with the man.
Yeah.
And also puts a reference to Kevin Smith's work in the Marvel Universe. I mean, that's pretty sweet. It's an emotional overload for any person who holds that stuff as important. Yeah. But because the movie's set in 96 or something like that, 97. I don't know. She's got a 9 Inch Nails shirt that's white with just the NIN.
That's post 95.
Yeah, I think it was 96. She crashes into a Blockbuster video.
Stan Lee.
Here's your frame of reference on this is pretty much she crashes into a Blockbuster. She uses a payphone. Fury has a pager. and the cars look really old.
Were they watching Friends?
Yeah.
Throw that in there as well.
No, but there's a lot of 90s music that is the soundtrack to it.
Oh, uh-oh.
So they get, well, do they have an actual, like, not just the official soundtrack, like the score? I don't know if I don't remember Nine Inch Nails ever being on it. She was into Guns N' Roses. There was, so there's a few references to Guns N' Roses. There was a Garbage song. I'm Only Happy When It Rains. A Hole. So not really stuff, like, I was not impressed with the soundtrack. It was
like somebody who heard about the 90s picked it.
Yeah, like it could have all been gotten off of a compilation called "This Is the 90s." It definitely wasn't deep cuts, and while some of it seemed appropriate to say, "Oh, Elastica," I remember being on there too. It's one of the better songs on there. But there was a Nirvana song, "Come As You Are," is featured in there. But that was the only thing that really bugged me about this movie. The scene where "Come As You Are" plays is during this mind link thing that she's doing with the Kree Supreme Intelligence. So this isn't really spoilery. You either know the shit or
Were they
you
doing it
don't.
while you're singing Memory?
But no, well, it starts off like at the beginning of the song, but yeah, that was used. I think they did get to that chorus part of the Memories, but it's more like you have this brain connection with the Supreme AI Kree Intelligence, this artificial leader of all of the Kree race.
They had Waterfalls, TLC.
Oh yeah, that's right. That was on there, and she has. So it takes
Oh my
place.
God, they had this song.
It takes place during a time where that song would have been out, but she wouldn't have had any memory of it. The last band that she liked would have been Guns N' Roses, because there's this like 6-year gap or 8-year gap, I think, from her turning
It's more
from
Slack Spying music.
because she is born human, but she's turned into this like Kree alien thing through this process that you find out over the course of the movie. Yeah, yes, exactly.
This is what Slack Spying music turned into in the 90s.
I don't remember this specifically being in the. So that's where she's kind of playing the alien, right? Not playing the alien. For all she doesn't even know that she's from Earth. She lands there and then discovers. I'm spoiling it. Anyway, it just didn't seem like, because the representation of the Kree AI Supreme Intelligence was pulled from her mind, as was the whole experience, in order to make it easier for you to conceive what this thing that maybe doesn't even have a body might look like. So it takes the form of Annette Bening, who was a friend of hers when she was human. But it also, when the music plays, I would think
the whole song. They picked this one, the Billy Corgan one.
Yeah. I don't know.
He wrote this whole album.
Yeah.
These are all Smashing Pumpkins rejects.
Honestly, like, I think this shit is the better. This is the better whole album.
Well, Kurt Cobain wrote the other one.
I know, but I still like this one better.
These are all songs he didn't
But
want.
I still don't like it. I just have to admit that they're catchier songs.
And no one said this one's too on the nose. Or were they going for that?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, this was during a fight scene where she's just kicking ass, and I don't know. I thought it was all right. I mean, it didn't stick out in any great way. It wasn't like watching Guardians of the Galaxy, where you're either like, I can't believe they're using this song, or like, whatever the fuck this song is.
They're using this.
Right,
Like,
yeah.
There's two ways you could say that.
Right. It was innocuous enough. It was just kind of background music that kind of set the scene. It was reminding you that this was the 90s.
I guess for me, it's more like it's their first female-led movie. It's a little too on the nose.
And listen, the bros...
Putting in like Hear Me Roar and something in the 70s.
The 4chan bros and the comics gators and the gamer gators and all these... The people that would flood to Rotten Tomatoes to downvote a movie because it has a female in it. They're all going to have a field day with this shit. Because there are multiple scenes of like guys go, like a guy tells her to smile. You know, there's many men in her life that tell her that she can't do this and that she has to prove wrong. But it's no different than the story that we've seen from Captain America. That's part of Captain America's story. Go home, Runt. You're too young, you're too skinny to fight for your country. And it was that desperation to serve that caused him to make the drastic decision to submit to the super soldier serum.
They know other REM came out in the 90s, right?
But he also proved himself smartly in the first movie. They have the scene where Steve Rogers throws himself on the grenade. That happens when he's still skinny Steve Rogers, right? There was something that they saw in him, a potential that they were looking for. So, yeah, I mean, there was definitely like, it's a kick-ass woman movie, you know, but it's all handled really well. It's as competent as any. It's the same story really as any real superhero movie. It just happens to be a woman. As far as
it's all women.
As far as how it connects to the bigger Marvel story so far, it really doesn't. If anything, it just complicates things.
It's another person they have to include in the next Avengers movie.
Well, no, she's going to be key. It says that you're going to see her in the next Avengers movie. She is going to be key to fighting Thanos. But the story of Captain Marvel's character in general, it really doesn't have anything to do with... It doesn't set us up for where we currently are in the Avengers storyline.
So they were leaving it room to flop?
Room to flop. Oh, yeah, because they could still be... It's not going to ruin the bigger story. It's not a letdown because it's still kind of separate.
Like, it's apparently not going to, but they were leaving it just in case.
No, well, I mean... The Avengers movie is coming out next month, so it's in the can.
Oh.
It's not like they could have made the decision like, oh, wait, people didn't like Captain Marvel, and that was going to be our big surprise guest for the next movie.
They got rid of
now what are we
Kevin
going to
Spacey
do?
right quick.
Well, this movie...
Plumber.
This is Sunday night, so we won't know until tomorrow what the weekend looks like. But so far, it's not going to beat Black Panther, but it's up there, and it's definitely one of the... holding some sort of record for a March release.
So it's next year. Black female.
And it was like, last I saw was like 100. It was expected to get to 150, 160 million in the U.S. And will pull in about 450 million worldwide in its opening weekend.
How come ScarJo didn't get her own movie first?
That's a good question, and they are finally in development.
She's a bigger
for that.
star.
Yeah. I think it's because they've been afraid of how to handle her. You know,
did the elites go to Brie Larson's tour?
Well, I don't know. Like,
because we know ScarJo can carry a movie. There's no question with that.
Yeah, and we do see like Black Widow is always kind of doing the stuff that the Avengers should just keep their hands clean of, right? She's always doing something that's outside of the law. Possibly outside of S.H.I.E.L.D. And that's the kind of character that she is. So,
it's renegade.
You would think that we've seen...
by our own rules.
Well, you could look at a movie like Wolverine and go, well, there's a template for this type of solo renegade hero that, you know, we can apply this to Black Widow. But we still want to have her in the Avengers movies, and the Avengers movies are PG-13 at worst, and it's still under Disney, right? So I think they've struggled with how to make this the right amount of sexy, dangerous, you know, action-packed with a little bit of blood, you know, that balance that you would need to find to really get an audience to believe this character who is an ex-Russian spy that defected, is trained killer. She was trained as young. She wasn't just trained as a spy. She was like, as a young girl, went into this orphanage where they were all trained assassins. And they were killing people at the age of like 12 years old. So she's had a totally fucked up life, and that's all she really knows is death. She's not a soldier. She's just a weapon. You know, an assassin, a
poor
spy.
Mr. Black Widow.
So I don't know that Marvel knows completely how to handle it. I mean, I've assumed they're moving forward now with the movie, but I don't think they, so far, have known how to fit that into the Marvel universe and not break their current molds completely of family entertainment. Right? If this is going to work,
Will she be the first R-rated
that's what I'm
Marvel
saying.
movie?
I want, and I think a lot of people would expect a John Wick style or like Atomic Blonde type of movie where
killer dog,
a lot of hand to hand. You know, there's not a whole lot of weapons being used or superpowers being used by Black Widow. She has like gadgets that she uses here and there, but most of her is like kicking and punching. It's good old fashioned, Born Identity shit.
I love the premise of John Wick. Killed his dog, man. Spoiler alert. A 10-year-old.
Yeah. I wonder, I don't know that it's one of those things because they're continuing. Well, they've made 2 movies so far, so we get to know a little bit more about him in the second
Isn't
movie.
like first one they stole his dog, second one they stole his car.
But it's still at that core concept.
Spoiler alert.
If you're curious, you can pay attention and get some of the background of like this organization that he works for and what he used to mean to it. But if you're just there for the punching and driving,
it's there.
Yeah, it's there in spades,
in abundance.
And I'm glad that we can get back to a time where, as long as it's not dumbing it down in any way, that can just be a movie like that. Almost seems like it takes place in real time, right? And some of the better ones do. I think John Wick, does it jump through days, or he pretty much seals that up in one night? I don't know what I'm talking about.
The Weedsman Podcast.
ChristopherMedia.net. ChristopherMedia.net.
The Weedsman Podcast.
What else have I've watched a lot of comic book related stuff though that I've really enjoyed. Umbrella Academy has been fantastic. Deadly Class on Sci-Fi and the Doom Patrol has been really, really strange.
I've just been rewatching old series that I found that apparently Netflix takes things off and Hulu scoops them up. Rewatched third. I'm saying shit, Siri.
Was it because of Hulu?
No, I don't know. Maybe something I said sounded like.
You said Netflix and Hulu, and she perked up.
Yeah.
You were saying?
But I rewatched 30 Rock while Mandy was gone for a week, and then I'm currently rewatching Scrubs.
I need to find a decent half-hour comedy that I can bang out on a lunch break or, not have to pay attention to also. I haven't found one yet. I tried watching the Stan vs. Evil.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't really get into it. It's a little too dry, and I think if you were a fan of B-movie horror, then it would be right up your alley. Like, I think that Evil Dead is an okay movie. It's fun. It's entertaining. I don't think it's genius.
But you're not one of those people in the rabid fan club.
Right. But if you are...
of Evil Dead.
Yeah, if you think Evil Dead's genius, you'll probably think this is a riot.
Looks to be in that vein.
And it's Dana Gould, who I love, who I think is like one of the funniest men on the planet. But it's just not hitting for me. And it's got the guy from Scrubs in it. The asshole doctor?
John C. McGinley, Dr. Cox. I've been getting refamiliarized with Dr. Cox.
I didn't realize his name was Dr. Cox.
Yes. Dr. Perry Cox.
I've seen like 3 episodes of that show.
And you live with Rich? That's surprising. Though him and I have varying opinions on season 9.
Do a Florida story before I'm good with that. You want to do a Florida story before we hit the news?
Talking about all the weed. Talk about, is it Florida Man?
Florida man.
Florida woman.
Before a Florida man can become a Florida man,
Florida boy?
he must start out as a Florida boy
Oh, boy.
And get
See what I did
himself-
there? I didn't mean to do that.
and get himself trapped into it in a cooler while playing hide and seek, causing the company to do a voluntary recall of their product. There's actually video. I guess they have home cameras there set up. Did you see the video? I sent you the link over Messenger. The Florida boy hides inside a cooler for fun. It's cut, so it has a latch on it that falls down. This is, I don't know, like, I wouldn't get into one of those things in the first place. Just being inside one of those seems scary to me. The thought of being locked inside of one, I would not handle well.
On the water in the house, we're unloading everything. We left the cooler out here to dry.
And watch what happened next. The Wayne family's little 5-year-old son, Nicholas, decided it would be fun to hide in the cooler. For more than a minute, he's in there with the top cracked open. But eventually, the top drops and locks.
When it got locked, I was scared.
You were? What did you think was going to happen?
Oh.
He's live, cool, so we can make fun of him. All right.
Yeah.
We heard this muffled scream.
It was
Yeah,
a
no, he
muffled
was
scream
fine.
As if a child had fallen and
And-
All right.
I don't know.
Well, don't say for college, dude.
You can tell where the scream was coming from. Finally, Rob turned and looked to the cooler.
Well,
Opened it up.
especially when a story like this hits the news, like, I don't know what a company's going to do except for recall it.
we yanked them out.
The cooler is an
But-
Igloo Elite 72.
So great. Now we
Yeah.
can't bring like 4 cases somewhere because this kid locked himself in the cooler.
In the cooler, and it was like that.
Just no, they're going to change the lock if they're smart.
Yeah.
Trapped inside.
Fortunately for Nicholas,
So,
Nice
or,
audio,
like,
Fox News. It's all
even
low.
if it's not somebody's kid, what if it was somebody's dog? Dog gets trapped in the cooler.
Oh my
right?
God.
Like you left a piece of salami in there. Your dog goes in after it, suffocates. Next thing you know,
What
scraps.
if it's Rory? Rory likes boxes.
Oh yeah, all cats love getting into boxes. Really.
Oh, Florida boy. I don't
you know,
got
I
locked
don't
in the
know.
cooler, Dad.
Because it was Florida kid. Yeah, it was funny, but it could have happened to anyone.
Could have been me.
No, Florida was in the news for cannabis this week too,
Yes.
not just for child neglect.
Yeah.
It wasn't neglect. He was just fucking around. They found him like within a minute,
Yeah,
right?
he's fine.
He's
Looks
good,
at everything.
yeah.
We make fun of him because he's okay.
And because he's from Florida, but it's not his fault. He was just born there, right?
Yes, but it's in him now.
You can see it.
late.
You can see it in the eye.
Yeah.
He's got the Florida, the dead look in his eye. No, what Florida did this week? We knew that Florida's had a medical marijuana program for a little while.
Yeah.
They've always had a
But with a unique little, what? God damn it! What
Little
am I looking
twist.
for? Little
twist.
No.
no twist because you can't. There's no twisting up joints. You have a clause. You have a carved out exception.
a unique little something. God damn it!
What is the word that you want?
I don't know. Twist. Let's go twist.
Yeah, is that you couldn't twist it. You had
Yeah.
you had to eat it. You could drink it. You can
Rub it on you.
rub it on you, slap it up,
Fuck it.
flip it,
Rub it down. Hello.
but you can't smoke it. Until recently, it looks like they're going to make some changes on that. A 34-4 vote.
Damn. Decisive.
That's pretty decisive. In the Florida Senate, passed the repeal of the medical marijuana smoking ban.
Can we say decisive? Sorry.
Senators said they don't approve of letting patients smoke marijuana. Thank you. Fine. We don't need your personal opinion, really. Do the people's will. But they voted for the bill anyways because letting courts decide the issue would be worse. Republican Senator Kelly Stargell.
There's that Republican mindset.
I don't like the position that we're in today. Now we're in a situation where if we do nothing, the situation's worse. That's always been your situation. The things that you're worried about when it comes to cannabis are going to continue to worsen the more that you keep it illegal. And not even just illegal completely, but the more you obstruct it. Like, things maybe neither here nor there to somebody who's not from Florida, whether they have a smoking ban with their medical marijuana program or not. But the fact remains is, if your preferred method is to smoke it, then you're just going to buy it off the black market, right? If you're fine with edibles and that's in tinctures or whatever you want, and you can get that at your store, that's fine. But that's not going to capture the majority of people that are keeping the black market going in your state and get them to come into the shops. So, yes, you don't like the position that you're in today. Maybe it's only because you're just now realizing that this is a position. It's a situation that it's always
Sorry. The hippies won. It's coming. Can't do anything about it.
It places several conditions on smokable marijuana. It would not be available to anyone under age 18.
All right.
Yeah, obviously.
Sure.
Unless the patient is terminally ill, and if two doctors, one of which is a pediatrician, says that the most effective form of treatment, and the other doctor has to be Christian. Actually, one doctor has to be Jewish, the other one has to be Christian. No, I don't know.
What?
It could not be smoked in public or at private businesses subject to the state's. Yeah,
sure. Things we already
pretty standard fare. Yep.
I thought of something. I don't know. You'll probably have your kids. Should we go to Hash Bash this year? What? I didn't just think of this. I thought of this earlier this week. Or is it over?
Well, the Hash Bash.
Was it the whole purpose of Hash Bash calling for the end of prohibition? Like, is there a Hash Bash this year?
That's a good question. I wonder.
Sorry.
No, that
derailed this.
No. I because it was for legalization, but yet if that's your cause, cannabis, then your work isn't done, because this doesn't expunge the records of all the people that were jailed for this for possession.
Also, too,
of this drug.
There's 40 states left.
Oh yeah, but wait a minute. Hash Bash is. I thought that was just the Ann Arbor thing. That was basically the day of amnesty that happens in Ann Arbor.
Not really.
Where
it was always possession was like a traffic ticket in Ann Arbor.
Well, yeah, but
it was the day the cops didn't hassle you.
Right. That's what I mean. The
campus cops still did. I was
really?
To remind you of that. Like campus cops and Ann Arbor cops, two different cops. Campus cops can still fucking arrest you.
Right. But how much public consumption was there during Hash Bash?
I mean, I went like 20 years ago and you still had to hide it. And like I said, on Michigan's property, you didn't fuck with it. If you were going to smoke it, you smoked it like off campus. But I was just thinking this year, this means to be a party?
Yeah. Well, you still can't smoke it in public, right? So
it's Ann Arbor.
And there's also no legal way to procure it.
Yeah. We got to see this new, what Laura does now.
Right. Well, it's not yet, but it is legal to grow it.
It's true.
So there's going to be a lot of people growing it and selling that on the black market.
Like we can go up to like the Cannabis Cup now up in like Flint. Should probably do that. Now the show's actually established and stuff. Could we do a live Weedsman? Oh,
I don't know much about these types of events. I've never been to one. I've only read about them, seen pictures. I've read a lot of stories about how they're not doing as well as you would think in areas where they're passing these legalized cannabis bills, because there is still so much. There's more of a spotlight on it, for one, right? So there's still no area in the U.S. that I can think of really that has public consumption.
Yeah, but if you make it like a private event, can you smoke while you're at the event?
Yeah, well,
like I had to buy a ticket to get in.
But here's the problem: that private event has to be rented. An area has to be rented that is owned by somebody that has insurance. That, you know, if something happens and there's a fire, you might be covered unless those people were doing illegal, quote unquote, drugs. And then, now it's a liability. I think.
Well, if everyone signs a waiver that says everybody be cool.
Yeah. Make sure you sign the be cool clause.
The be cool waiver.
Dude, man, chill.
Dude, just be cool.
So I guess it's like the banking thing.
Yeah, figure it out.
You would think that legalizing it would take care of that.
Aren't
that
they
would
trying
clear
to
up
figure it
those
out
issues.
in Oregon?
No, I thought the Oregon story was about public consumption.
Yeah, a non-smoking cannabis cafe.
Oh, how does that? So you could eat edibles on the premise?
Let's see. It's Senate Bill 639. Cannabis cafe customers could only consume non-combustible products like edibles and tinctures.
What about vaping? Is that considered
Non-combustible.
combustible? That's not.
Chapman says they'd have
There's
to
no
go out.
fire. It's only heat applied.
They'd
right?
have to go outside to smoke. It would be an enclosed area outside, out of view of the public, where only 21 and older could access.
Well, that's not so bad. Wait, what state is this?
Oregon.
All right. So the wintertime might be kind of
The
miserable.
cafes will give tourists and other cannabis consumers a legal place to get together.
But even
and
then,
smoke.
it's going to be an enclosed area, so they probably even have like space heaters and shit.
Yeah.
You can trust me, if you really want to keep smokers at your bar, you can set up some pretty swanky smoking areas even in the wintertime.
That's from opb.org.
Look in your home. Look in your office. Look in your home office. Everywhere you turn, there's so much smart. At Capella University, we think education should be smart too. Our game-changing FlexPath format puts you in control of your master's degree, so you can learn how, when, and where you want. Smart, huh? Yeah, we think so too. So if you want to take the next step in your career, make Capella your first step. Visit capella.edu to learn more. Capella University. Don't just learn smarter.
The Weedsman Podcast.
ChristopherMedia.net. ChristopherMedia.net.
The Weedsman Podcast.
Now, there was, this was in Colorado, who are 5 years now into their legal marijuana program and still haven't solved how people are going to pay their taxes without running tens of thousands of dollars of cash across town. Now, that's going to be the next Equalizer movie. Equalizer 3 is like, Denzel's going to be
working security.
He's working security for dispensary, yeah, because he was doing the Lyft driver in the last one.
They had an episode of Chicago PD where the guy's moonlighting gig was security for a dispensary when they went to the bank in the morning.
Oh yeah, Representative Ed Perlmutter.
Oh, this guy again.
Has introduced legislation allowing marijuana businesses to use banks, removing a hindrance that has plagued Colorado businesses for the 5 years of marijuana legislation. Sorry.
That guy's got a name that sounds like we want him to be a villain of cannabis, but he's clearly an ally. I was like, damn you, Perlmutter, not again. Well, maybe like
I don't.
The square guys say that.
Perlmutter wasn't necessarily for it. He was saying that it was not a good idea at the time, but it passed anyway. And now he's got legal businesses that want his representation, and so that's where he is right now.
Once money starts showing up, all of a sudden everyone's like, hey, hold up, let's hear him out.
Right. He does have 9 co-sponsors. It doesn't say in here, but I guess one of them is Warren Davidson from Ohio. I can only imagine that the rest of them are the co-signers for this are from legal states as well. It says in this story on the Denver Post that Perlmutter spent years fighting to get even a hearing on marijuana banking in the House Financial Service Committee without success. After Democrats took control in January, one of the first hearings in financial services was on marijuana banking, a stark sign of the bill's changing odds. So I'm not even sure what this looks like if you don't do anything about Schedule 1 classification. Because
state facts.
Well, how do you carve out just marijuana and say like that doesn't apply to the other just as dangerous drugs that have the same classification. I'm putting this heavy air quotes here.
New banking
like
system?
LSD and cocaine. No, I mean, you just need to protect the banks, really. You need to make the banks know that they're not going to get fucked with if they, insure these customers. That the DEA is not going to come down on you.
Yeah.
For money laundering. Because that's what even if you're claiming it, just because you claim the money doesn't mean that it's automatically legal, right? You could have a car wash and you're laundering money from your drug business. So, yeah, if it comes from drugs, that technically is illegal. So, I don't know. Maybe it is possible just to make exceptions like that, but it seems like it would be hard to do without that interpretation being challenged. And then somebody who's then, busted for trafficking cocaine can then use that defense. Like, well, why if I'm Schedule 1, if my drug that I sold is on Schedule 1 still, and so is marijuana, and these legal businesses are banking their money and being protected and not being charged with money laundering or misreporting funds or whatever kind of fine.
So that mean you include a piece for Uncle Sam so he doesn't come after you? Pretty much like legal extortion. Here, federal government. We'll give you some money so that way you don't want to come after us. Do you set that up?
I wonder if part of the resistance to going after the scheduling of cannabis has anything to do with the near worldwide participation with there was a recommendation, I think it was by like the World Health Organization or something, that said, here's the drugs, here's how dangerous they are, and all the countries got together and signed off on that. And they might use different terms for it, but
it's at the bottom.
Our classification of drugs are almost identical to what they have in the UK and most of Europe. So I don't know.
So that the rest of the world thinks cannabis is bad. Is that the problem too?
Well, it's when you have to fess up to a lie that you've been telling people for a long time.
Yeah, stick with your lie.
It's kind of difficult to do that and then have everybody else that was in on that lie go, I don't know what he's talking about.
It's crazy.
Like, come on, guys, you said we were all going to do this together. Now you left me out hanging out to dry.
It's bullshit. Come on, Jerry. I don't even know who Jerry is.
So anyway, this is not the first time that the Perlmutter has tried to get this bill. He has more support than ever for it. We certainly have presidential candidates that are running on this issue.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'm sure he's got a lot of support across the
Weed 2020
across the aisle as well. Hopefully they can get something done on that.
In New Mexico, south of Colorado.
There's a New Mexico?
Yeah, right.
I can't resist every time. Every time. What? I'm sorry, what was your question?
Is it New Mexico, south of Colorado?
Isn't it south of Colorado? Yeah. Why do you?
Because I know we have a story about New Mexico.
Oh, yeah.
Just trying to segue.
Oh, yeah. Travel south from Ed Perlmutter's homeland.
Yes.
And you will hit New Mexico. They voted recently to...
The state house.
The state house voted recently to legalize recreational cannabis. So, all right, I'm going to have to look at a map. Can we see a map, please? Can you remind me where New Mexico is? There's a lot of similarly shaped states that kind of fit together over there. So New Mexico would be on the other side of Nevada. From like California would be on its west side, and New Mexico would be east of that? Or are they north of... No, they can't be north of it.
Stand by. Comes the map. Get the fuck out of here. Really?
You have trouble finding a picture of a map? You have to open image. Don't click on the... If you click on the image, it sends you to the link. You have to click open image. We'll use Google Maps. But then Google Maps doesn't show...
Oh, look at...
There you go.
Oh, it's the fake the fake round Earth.
Oh, yeah. Google's in on it.
There you go. Yep. Right directly below pretty much everything. Its entire southern border of Colorado, except for a tiny piece of Oklahoma.
Oh, wait. So you have Utah next to Nevada. Then it's Colorado, and New Mexico is below that.
Yes.
Next to Arizona. So they're bordering Colorado. Utah is actually going to have a medical
Colorado's
program.
A lot of states that border it. Utah, Wyoming, Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, New Mexico, and Arizona.
Yeah.
Damn.
But, that northern part of Texas is going to be the part that you're going to have a lot of resistance from. The southern, I think the more south you go in Texas, you probably have
that's where the people
resistance.
are. Dallas, Austin, Houston,
San
Antone.
I think it's probably the cities that are on the border that you're going to have like the lawsuits and shit from, the outrage, the calling the senators and demanding they do something. My kids are running across the border, not even the U.S.-Mexico border. They're crossing over to New Mexico and getting their drugs. It's just a slippery slope to the fucking blue shit. That Breaking Bad shit. And they'll start coming back with crystal meth.
And then you have babies in thong underwear. Nobody wants that.
If passed, New Mexico's legal marijuana regime would begin in the middle of next year. State budget analysts expect the legal market to generate at least $9 million in tax revenue the first year. And by $90 million by the time the market is up to full speed in 2023.
Man, I never dreamed. I'm about to say, I never dreamed this shit would, these dominoes start falling so quickly.
But 2023 isn't exactly quickly.
No, but within 10 years of the first state voting, we're going to have over maybe a quarter of the country.
Yeah, but it just... All right. I guess I'm the glass half empty guy this week, because that just reminds me how much the government can slow shit down, right? All we have is a product that people want to buy, right? When Apple developed the iPad and started showing everyone that they wanted this new thing, how long did it take for them to secure their market for that iPad? If they were doing it today and somebody said, I think we could have we could finally find our market saturation by 2023, they would be like, you're fired. Get the fuck out of my face.
Go work for Samsung if you want
4 years for market? No. We want 4 months because we've got an iPad 2 slated for next year already.
Which is funny. Aren't they like phasing out iPads?
I don't think so.
The tablet market kind of done its thing.
You've got encroaching like e-readers on one side and tablet computers on the other side, like Surface computers.
Mm-hmm.
I think the iPad Pros are getting more attention. I actually want an iPad Pro just for the drawing ability because I've seen people use it, and it's akin to like these tablets
Can the
that
iPad
people
Pro
spend
replace
thousands
my
of dollars
Mac?
for.
If it can replace my Mac, then I'm interested.
I would. I don't know. It's got a pretty powerful processor. I haven't used one firsthand. My experience with iPads ends with the iPad 2, and the thing's never been super fast browsing. I've used it for reading and other random stuff, but never really for any actual browsing. Certainly not for research where you're trying to keep multiple tabs open and expect it not to crash on you every 5 minutes. So, yeah, I mean, browsing, handling audio between different apps, not its strongest suits in my opinion, but it might be a different story with the iPad Pros. Oh, but hey, speaking of tech, there is a former IBM senior project manager, Joel Lunenfeld, former vice president of global brand strategy at Twitter as well. Oh, wait a minute. Do you do both? Oh, no, they're describing multiple guys. So this guy, I guess, is just one. I just saw this story in Forbes. IBM senior project manager leaves his job to join a cannabis company, but they're actually illustrating a larger trend of people going from
tech
Silicon Valley to The Green Valley? What do they call it? They've got to have a word for it.
The
Sticky Valley.
Sticky Valley? Is that what they're calling it?
No, that's what I'm calling
Sticky
it.
Icky Valley?
The Sticky Icky Valley. I was just scanning the story to see if they had some sort of quippy little name for it, but no, they're just saying cannabis industry. Well, because if anything, if you work in Silicon Valley, you know how to speak the language, right? The language of paradigm shifting and changing people's lives and
synergy and
yeah. So if you're going to get involved in the cannabis industry, you're not going to make puns and not, have dreadlocks and wear flip flops, and you're going to try and eschew all of those stereotypes and rebrand your product. But privately, behind the scenes, they probably call it the Sticky Icky Valley. I'm probably right.
The Humboldt Valley. The Sensimilla Valley. Yeah, there's a term you don't hear anymore.
Sensimilla?
Sensimilla. Or Sensimilla.
Yeah, however you pronounce it.
You don't say it anymore. Why not?
Well, is the origin Spanish? Because then you would say ya instead of Ella. Sensimilla, Sensimilla, Sensimilla. You say tomato, I say tomato.
Sensimilla.
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 I don't know if I trust the robot. Whose line is this anyway?
Sensimilla.
Well, that's two robots that are saying Sensimilla.
Sensimilla?
Yeah, but how do they say quesadilla? Now I need a reference. How does a robot pronounce quesadilla? Just pull up
quesadilla.
Oh.
Thank you, Tina Fey.
Quesadilla.
Oh.
Quesadilla. Whoa, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I think I want that second quesadilla. Would you like a quesadilla? Or would you
consists
like
of a folded tortilla filled with cheese
Thanks, Whitey.
and other ingredients. Quesadilla.
Oh, this is
consists of
what is happening?
Folded
what
tortilla
what
filled with
I don't
cheese.
get.
I just think of Homer again. The wind
ingredients
is coming out of.
Well, what's there to eat? Get off, Napoleon. Make yourself a dang quesadilla.
Fine.
Well, there you go. Maybe it is Sensimilla. Rhymes with quesadilla.
All right. Well, this week we're smoking on Triangle Kush.
It's Triangle Kush. Are you Triangle Man?
Triangle Kush.
You just want the Triforce? Nice. What's does it have 3 parents?
We're going to find out. While we listen to the dulcet tones of New Order, formed from the ashes of Joy Division. What's Triangle Kush? Triangle Kush is an indica originating in Florida. Oh, Florida weed!
Wow.
Originating in Florida, named after the state's 3 cannabis-producing capitals, Jacksonville, Miami, and Tampa. This sounds familiar. We may have smoked this before. Indoor or outdoor grows are low yielders, but clear active effects stimulating creativity and discussion drive the strain's production. Flowers are expected around 70 days. So what's right? We were getting all super deep early. What's in this shit?
It was...
Is clear active effects stimulating creativity and discussion.
Oh, yeah. Clearly.
Happy, relaxed, euphoric, uplifted, and focused. Focus is
like way down low on the list.
The last one.
I'd say it'd be the last.
It's good for stress, pain, inflammation, depression, insomnia. And it'll give you the dry mouth. Correct. Dry eyes.
Well, this is not an ADD friendly cannabis. Oh shit, it's not even over yet. I know that song's like a little bit played out,
It's
by
so
now,
good.
but that's probably the pinnacle of that band. That's when they had the songwriting and the production they're both at their peak. Oh. Not focused at all.
It was last on the list. It was only like a quarter of the bar. But hey, valued listener. Well, no, we know we have more than one. There's a few dozen of you. I think definitely 13 of you. I can definitely say there's at least a baker's dozen of you. Thanks for listening. I don't know if we ever do that.
Thank people?
Just go, hey, thanks for listening.
People I think we do. Yeah, maybe we don't. We just kind of space out.
Yeah.
Thanks for.
Well, but yeah, just,
thank you.
By the end of this, it's like been a 2-hour session. We're both high as shit.
May have forgotten.
If you're new, welcome. If you're returning, thanks for the loyalty. If either of you like it, tell a friend. Tell this works. Share it on your social media. All that nonsense. Like we're on Twitter at TheWeasel420. We're on Facebook. On Instagram at The Weasel Podcast. You can email us at weaselpodcast at ChristopherMedia.net. We're on Spotify. Google Play. I think we're also on Google. I think from what I'm hearing, Google Play is shit canning the podcast, and it's just trying to move everything to Google Podcasts. Which I don't know.
Oh, they have their own.
Yeah, it started a few months ago, I guess. But I guess if we were on Google Play Podcasts, we're already on Google Podcasts.
Yeah.
And Apple Podcasts, the OG.
And
ChristopherMedia.net.
And say hi.
And stay high.
The Weedsman Podcast.
ChristopherMedia.net. ChristopherMedia.net.
If you like this show, please tell a friend. Please make sure to rate and comment on all your favorite Christopher Media shows. Please follow us on Twitter and like and share us on Facebook. You can subscribe to all ChristopherMedia.net shows for free on ChristopherMedia.net. Thank you for listening, and thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.
Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.